We're going to try it like this tonight. We're going to try portrait mode. Portrait mode. Everybody's favorite mode. I think it's just easier when I'm sitting like this to do portrait mode, because I can prop my phone up. I'm not super happy with this position, but we'll fuck with it. We'll see. We'll see. Where's the chat at? Chat viewing options. Live chat. Hello. There you are. For some reason, chat just wasn't showing up. It was like, oh, what's the point of doing a stream if the chat isn't gonna be there for the stream? Is this gonna work? You guys are just gonna have to deal with cockeyed Paul, I think, because this feels okay to me. There's probably a better way to do it. I just don't want it that high. I want it like leaned back against something a little bit. There we go. That's better. Good evening. Watching you on a retro handheld. Cool. I don't know what that is, but cool. I guess I don't need to be wearing these, huh? You can see I'm sitting at my computer desk, but my computer is not happy with me right now. It's time. It's time for me to get a new computer, and I hate doing it. If there's anything you know about me, like anybody that knows me will tell you, I hate spending money. I hate it. I like when money is there and not spent. I hate taking a little chunk of the money that I've saved and putting it into something that I need. I hate it. But this computer is now, I want to say it's like 8 years old. And I haven't taken the greatest care of it. I mean, I don't know. It's been fine, honestly. I've done what I need to do maintenance-wise on it, but it's not in the great. It's just not, it's got problems. Plan to keep your hair long forever, or will one day white guilt Paul return? I don't know. I think it's pretty common amongst people that have long hair to fantasize about chopping it all off. Like pretty much everybody I've ever talked to that keeps their hair long, maybe not everybody, but it seems to be pretty common amongst people that have got really, because my hair is out of control now. Like it's long. It's super long. I actually went to go visit my mom, she's let her hair grow out since the beginning of COVID. And my hair's longer than hers. Mine has been growing out since 2018. I think 2018 is when I had my last haircut. Yeah, that's kind of why I switched gears, babe. It was like, I don't remember you ever saying like, oh, I'm sick of this hair, but you've got like beautiful hair. It doesn't, I don't know, like your hair doesn't do the fucked up shit that my hair does. Like, my hair wants to get in knots all the time, and it's all poofy and wavy. Your hair is just beautiful and, like, straight. Get a haircut every 3 months, yeah. I mean, I was that way for a long time. I got to be honest with you. Ever since I was a little kid, well, honestly, when I was a little kid, I mean really little, like toddler level, my mom would not cut my hair. So I had long hair as a little kid. And I think my dad finally, like, stepped in and forced the issue. And after that, I never had long hair, and I always wanted it. Like, I remember being in my 20s and wanting to grow my hair long, and I got endless shit from everybody. My girlfriend at the time, her dad didn't like that I was letting my hair grow out. Like, thought it made me look like a hippie, which I am, Like, I don't know what to tell you. So her dad, like, didn't like it. She didn't like it. Nobody liked it. And so I just didn't and do it. And now that I have it, I like it. I don't like having to deal with all the bullshit with it, but I guess I like it enough. Dreadnoughty dreadnought. I think now they've just accepted it, which is kind of cool. Like, well, no, some of my family still makes their little comments and whatnot, but I think people realize I'm not taking suggestions anymore. I'll look how I want to look. I'll dress how I want to dress. You don't like it, I can deal with it. Did you ever go back to short hair? I mean, like I said, like I fantasize all the time about just going into like super cuts and being like, get rid of this, shave it all. But then I think about like how long my hair was in that. Like, I'll tell you, one of the things that keeps me from chopping my hair off is when you go to grow your hair out from nothing, like I did. The last haircut I had was TJ buzzing my, like literally scalping me, taking me down to skin. And so when you grow your hair out like that, there's like a period of about 6 months where your hair looks completely, you just look ridiculous. There's nothing you can do but maybe throw a hat over it and hope nobody notices. Like it's just all different lengths. It's not growing out at the same length. So your bangs are down to here, but the back, it looks almost like you got a mullet. No bueno. No bueno. Ever style it? I mean, does brushing it and putting like some dry shampoo or conditioner in it, does that? I guess that's technically styling it. So yeah, I do that. I tell you what, I don't like. I would rather not have to brush my hair as much as I do because my hair just is so curly that like my brush just pulls hair out of my head. But if I don't, I will literally get dreadlocks. So I have to brush it out. Yeah, that's exactly what it is too, Mickey. It's like you are waiting for the bangs to grow out long enough to where you can tuck them behind your ear. And then at that point, you don't look like a total fucking retard anymore. But it takes forever. No gray hair. It's just the lighting. I have lots. I mean, you can kind of see it here. Right here in the front. I'm going gray up here in the front first, I think. So like this is like my bangs, you can see it there. See? Big silver streaks. So I definitely got gray. Beard isn't gray? Yeah, it is. Once again, like the lighting in here is horrible. But right here in the middle, especially up towards the chin where it's growing in new, this is all gray. So it's starting, but that's cool. Longest I had my hair was shoulder length. Yeah, my hair almost, like if I stand up straight and put all my hair back, almost touches the top of my butt crack. Like I don't know how long that would be. I think I was over at my niece's house, and I think she measured it with a tape measure, and it was something like 25 inches or something. I've always wanted gray hair, dude. I've always wanted it. So that's one part of aging that I'm not really worried about. Hair looks more silver than gray. I mean, what's the difference? Silver and gray, when you're talking about hair colors, it's just two ways of saying the same thing. think I'm gonna lose all my hair by the time I'm 40. I'm only 27 now. Sucks, dude. Sorry to hear that. Braids or dreadlocks, my fro would be past my shoulders, picked all out. It should be about the same. Damn. That's a pretty fucking... That's pretty epic fro you got there, my friend. I remind you of your heroin addict uncle in the best way possible. Thanks. I think thanks. I guess thanks. Paul, do you still want to work from an RV? Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if I want... Like I said, I shared that just because it was exciting to me, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. It's something we're looking into. And if it makes sense... Like, I'll tell you what. Amelia and I, as a married couple, we are both at the point where I think we want a little house somewhere. Like, we're ready to, like, find a place to settle down. Problem is that I won't speak for her, I just don't know where I want to be, and I don't want to make a hasty decision, buy a house and a place, and then hate it. And so to me, it seems like what we need to do really is travel around a little bit, and I don't want to move a million fucking times, and so getting an RV seems like a pretty good way of fucking doing that. You can go to whatever area, like literally name an area, and we could go to that area, stay near it, be towing a little car so we'd be able to get around, wouldn't have to drive a giant fucking tour bus everywhere. And then, if we find an area that we like, and we think, oh yeah, we could settle down here, we sell the fucking motorhome and put whatever proceeds we get back out of the principal on it into the down payment on a house. It doesn't seem bad. Getting an RV means dropping a bunch of money at once, was just a stressful thing. Yeah, I mean, it's like buying a house, honestly. I mean, you buy a house, the down payment is the big chunk of money that you got to give, and then the rest of it is all financed. I'd be financing, so. Bahaha, will you admit that California... I didn't... Like, what... What about what I've said leads you to believe that I think California sucks? I mean, there are parts of California that do suck, for sure. Bakersfield exists, okay. Have you thought about moving near Scotty or TJ to do the show in person? No. Here's the way I feel about that, and this is just where I'm at personally. When I started with DP, I was living in Texas at the time, not really by choice, but just by convenience. And then wanted to be on the show in person and stuff, and the guys wanted that too, so I moved to Washington. I really didn't have a say in where that was. They'd moved there before. Then when DP came to an end, both Scotty and TJ, I understand why they did it. They decided they were going, back to their roots or whatever, Louisiana, and they invited me along, but I had no fucking say in the choice of that. That's the last one. That's the last time I'm going to go live in a place that I have no say in choosing to be on the show. It's just not going to happen. D. What's down where even barking at? So yeah, I mean, I'm just not going to do it anymore. Like if we all want to get together and be in the same studio, we can all put our heads together and decide on a place to move. But I will have a say in it. It won't be me going where everybody else is going. I'm not doing that anymore. Like I was pretty fucking miserable in Louisiana, and I'm not going to put myself in that position anymore. So, As it stands right now, moving to closer to either of them would require me to move back to the fucking part of the country I don't want to be in. So, meh. You could still do the show remotely. Well, yeah, duh. That's what I do now. Where do you most want to visit if you get an RV? I mean, the great thing about it is I kind of want to try out a bunch of stuff. Like, I want to try some Midwest out. I want to maybe check out Michigan, the East Coast, Maine, maybe Vermont, Southwest, maybe Arizona, maybe Nevada. Yeah, I mean, that's just a short list there of places that I would like to, like find an area around, find a nice campground, and live near it. Would you go out of the USA? I'm not adverse to it, but it's just, I mean, as you might imagine, it's incredibly expensive and a little bit scary. But I'm not adverse to the idea of doing it eventually. Yeah, that's just not. That's just not what I know via talking to family members that have lived this lifestyle for years and years and years. It's cheaper. If I bought a huge RV with a big fucking note on it or whatever, and then was staying at the nicest, most, I'm not really looking, like, one of the great things about having an all-in-one kind of RV is that all you really need is hookups. I don't need to go to one of these big, expensive places that have, like, I don't know, I don't need any of that. They've got like swimming pools and fucking, yeah. I mean, that you start going to places like that, and you factor in the gas from moving from one to the other, and yeah, I mean, I might be paying about as much as I'm paying now, but that's not the way I'm looking to live. If you get that RV and are ever in North Texas for any reason, I'll work on it for cheaper than any shop will charge you. Well, that's nice. Thanks. I don't know if we'll ever find ourselves in North Texas. Everybody trying to sell their home state to you. I know. Everybody's like, hey, you come to Colorado. It's like, no. Opinions on the Pacific Northwest. I like it there. I think Oregon is absolutely fucking just beautiful. I think Washington is pretty beautiful too. I wouldn't mind, and that's another thing too. Is like we could stay in Washington State for 6 months or something. Amelia's got family there, so we could stay there and be near her family, and then come back, to California and be near mine, and then winter somewhere where it's not freezing cold, and then when it starts to get hot, pull out and head up into the mountains. That's kind of like the way that I see us treating it. But I don't know. It's just right now, the rental market for the type of place that I'm in. I'm not in a giant house. I'm in a pretty fucking modest, little cookie cutter neighborhood house or whatever the fuck that I'm renting. And, meh. just feel like I'm paying way too much for it. How much is it to rent an RV hookup compared to an apartment? I mean, it depends on the place, but it's way cheaper. Obviously, you're not renting anything other than like a hookup to their little septic tank and an electric plug and like a water hose or something. You know, you're not getting the walls, you're not getting the maintenance, you're not getting anything. So it's cheaper. But of course, you got to pay the note on the car as well, so, or on the RV as well. So whatever, I don't know. You figure it out. You do the fucking math. Do 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 do. Come to my country and live as a king on your income. What country is that? You got to say what country it is. No cussing. Yeah, I get the feeling that YouTube is heading that direction. I see people bleeping things that aren't even cuss words. Like I said the word vagina in a recent short and our editor bleeped it. It's like you can't even say the word vagina anymore. Like literally the most scientific name for female, sexual anatomy. Can't say vagina. Okay. Okay. And why are you guys being so spicy tonight? There's all these messages being held for review. You guys are spicing it up too much. Take the spiciness level down, okay? Less spicy. You guys are too spicy. Come to New Zealand? Yeah, good. I can't afford to be in New Zealand, dude. New Zealand is out of my pay grade. Bring back lean Paul. When was that? There was never really a lean Paul. I guess in my earlier 20s I was thinner than I am now, but I was never lean. Lean Paul has never existed. Digital nomad. Digital nomad. Why not? Why not? What's wrong with being a digital nomad? Baconator, Baconator, give me a Baconator. So what's happening? What's happening in the world? What's going on? What do I need to be aware of? What have I missed? What have I missed out on? Who said it? Who did it? You know, Paul. You know the world hasn't improved. Oh, I am my utter shock at that revelation. The world is still shit. Oh man, god damn it. Light your blunts and pack your bowls. Oh, good gravy. There we go. We're safe now. Paul sick? No. Paul weed. You gonna acknowledge me, Paul? No. Oh, wait. God damn it. After that, though, no. I will not. I will not acknowledge your existence anymore. Oh man, yeah. You've got to get out of this mentality of like we've hit bottom. There is no bottom. Like bottom is gonna be when, and I've said this a million times, when the grocery stores don't have food in them anymore. That's gonna be bottom. That's when you're gonna see we're gonna reap all of the fucking division and bullshit that we've sown over these last few years. Over the last fucking, especially the last like 10, 15 fucking years here in America. So much divisiveness has been sown. They basically like quietly economically destroyed the traditional neighborhood. And so this idea that the people that live around you are going to like come together and like, how do we all survive together? Let's take care of each other. Well, it's going to be fuck you got mine. And that's going to be that, you know. We have truly allowed these kind of shady political entities to divide us to the point where we don't even see common humanity in one another anymore. We don't look at our ideological opponents as human. There used to be this fucking ability, you know, and I don't know if it was, you know, I'm not necessarily claiming it was a good thing, but there used to be an ability that people had to set aside politics and just talk to people. And I think a lot of political minds were changed by that kind of interaction. I would like to see the return of that kind of interaction, but it looks like I can wish in one hand and shit in the other, see which one fills up first. Spoiler alert, it's the shit hand. Yeah, you know. Watched a video about the Bronze Age collapse. Dude, there's this I'll recommend, I usually don't do this, but I'll recommend a YouTube channel for you guys. There's a podcast called The Fall of Civilizations podcast, and I think it's got like 17 or 18 episodes. And each episode covers one of the great civilizations that we know about, that has, that existed at one point on the face of the earth, and that basically fell to dust. And they've got a playlist on their channel that will play those episodes in chronological order. That's how I recommend you do it, because that's how I did it. It starts with the Akkadians. There's a lot of weird shit about because that area. So the Mesopotamia is what we call it, and Mesopotamia basically means the land between two rivers. And it's the Tigris and Euphrates River, and that is where the first mass civilizations on planet Earth that we've yet discovered existed. And there's some crazy shit, man. In northern Mesopotamia were, I'm trying to think, it was the Akkadians and fuck. There was, I'm trying, it's not what I keep thinking, it's like my brain is like going, Babylon, Babylon, Babylon. And it's not Babylon. Babylon came later. Assyria, I honestly, I would have to go look into it, but I mean, it might be Assyrians, but let's say, I think it is actually. I think it is the Assyrians. But there's some crazy stuff about it. Mesopotamia was the city. No, Mesopotamia is the region. The Byzantines. Oh yeah, Sumer. So in the northern Mesopotamia were the Sumerians, and in southern Mesopotamia were the Akkadians. The Sumerians spoke a Semitic language, meaning a language that you can trace the roots of other Semitic languages to it and from it. It's related to Arabic and Hebrew and Aramaic, the languages of the Bible, so we can trace where it came from. The Akkadians, who were just in southern Mesopotamia, and there was massive trade between these empires, they spoke what's called a language isolate. You guys ever heard that term before? It's super interesting. A language isolate is a language in which we cannot connect it to any other language. It's its own thing. It literally does not share phrasing or grammar or etymology with any language that we know. Okay, all right, I have them backwards. My bad. I'm like, look, I'm not a fucking history professor. You get it. Akkad was up north, Sumer was down south. Got it. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it. Yeah. So a language isolate, which I think is super interesting because it begs the question, did these people come from somewhere else? And there are some theories about that. The strongest one that is posited that I've looked into is about the Ice Age. So during the Ice Age, a lot of the water on planet Earth, including seawater, was locked up in these giant glaciers, ice, some of them that extended as far as like Germany. I think Berlin was under a giant glacier during the Ice Age. And so you can imagine that's a tremendous amount of water that's locked up. So sea levels were really low. This created valleys and mountain ranges that don't exist today. And one of the thought processes is that further east in like Iran, what is modern day Iran, there was a fertile river valley out what is now the coast of Iran that people lived in. And as the Ice Age came to an end, their civilization was slowly overtaken by the sea, and they had to leave. If you look at the kind of history of Sumer, they, among other things, claim that they came from the sea, and that the knowledge of civilization was delivered to them by a god of the sea. And so, once again, we don't have any proof of this, but the idea that these people came from somewhere else to establish this is really reflected in their language, right? The Zuni language in Arizona is also an isolate. Yeah, they're very rare. Language isolates are very, very rare. They do exist. One of the cool things I learned about these two civilizations is, particularly now that I've got it, I have them switched in my head. Particularly Sumer being a language isolate, and have you ever like? It's just one of those things that I don't know that I'd ever wondered about until I learned about it. Have you ever wondered why our minutes and like there's 60 seconds in a minute, right? 60 minutes in an hour. Have you ever wondered why 60? It's pretty neat, actually. So, yeah, why? But think about it though. Why not a rounder number? Like, why wouldn't there be 100 seconds in 1 minute, 100 minutes in 1 hour? Why would it be 60? The reason for that is that math, as we like modern math, the use of mathematics and the explanation of mathematics, right? Base 6. So the Sumerians and Akkadians who invented mathematics, it's a base 6 because of your hands. Okay? So what you would do is that you would count on one hand, right? You would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you got 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? Isn't that crazy? And that's how they would keep track of big numbers when they were doing these kind of transactions and stuff. And so that is why our current estimation of time is base 6 when modern mathematics is base 10. Pretty neat, right? Pretty neat. Yeah. I find history to be really interesting. I think in another life I could have like pursued history, maybe been like a community college history professor or something. That stuff is cool to learn. I know. It's just neat to like. It's something I never really wondered about, but if you'd asked me before that, I'd have been like, I don't know. That really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You look like a good history teacher. I think I could have been. As of right now, I'm just like a history enthusiast. I wouldn't call myself an expert in any era, but I like to dip my toe into different, histories and stuff. For sure. I definitely have never done any real study of it, but I've done a lot of reading. I read a lot of historical nonfiction. I sub to that channel. You should. The guy's got a great voice. It's good to listen to too, because the visuals that he uses are just like archaeological pictures and artist renditions. So if you do watch it, base 6 is stupid. I mean, base 6 is rudimentary, but it's not stupid. I mean, the Akkadians and Sumerians founded the first empires on planet Earth. They were the first people to do agricultural building. So they would what they did was, all right, the Tigris and the Euphrates comes down out of the mountains and flows out right through Mesopotamia. They used to, in the Ice Age, create one big river, and that went to the sea. But after the Ice Age, they were separated forever as two rivers with two different deltas. And they bring a lot of silt down out of the mountains. The mountains are like limestone and granite around there, and so a lot of silt comes down out of the mountains, and that's incredibly good for farming. But the rest of Mesopotamia at this time was pretty dry and pretty fucking barren. What these people learned to do was to dig channels from the river to channel that silt into their fields, and they created these incredibly fertile gardens where they would grow fig trees, and then they would plant things underneath the fig trees in the rows, things that couldn't take more sun. So that's how they got around the hot desert environment, was they would plant these huge groves of fig trees, and then in between and underneath the boughs of the fig trees, they would plant the more sensitive crops. It's a hilarious story I heard from my history of Western civilization class community college, where some kind of king of Assyria unmounted his horse and whipped the sea in anger over some lost battle. Yeah, I don't know the story you're talking about, but that is a funny picture. Well, once again, I'm talking about our current knowledge, what we can prove and what we have lots of information about. I understand that there are sites like Göbekli Tepe, and that there are sites in South America that some people are saying predate the Olmecs and the Toltecs by a significant margin, and that show that maybe there was, rudimentary agriculture, rudimentary. There definitely was, like, what Göbekli Tepe proves is that monolithic structure making was not as modern of a construct as we thought it was. That these people, at a time where previously we assumed really hadn't even developed strong stone tools yet, were able to chisel these huge 45-foot columns intricately carved with different animals and stuff. And there is some insinuation that there was rudimentary farming around Göbekli Tepe, but we don't know anything about it. Like, when it comes to, like, because, the Assyrians kept records. The Sumerians and Akkadians kept records. So, unfortunately, we haven't found any kind of Rosetta Stone for Göbekli Tepe, so we don't know if this was just the work of one crazy enclave of people, or if it was the work of a wider network of interdependent civilizations, small civilizations, as they would have had to been. I mean, I suspect you're probably right, Anthony, when you say you think that we're yet to discover a few thousand years of our history. I think you're right, and I think that it shows. There are a number of anomalies, that just aren't accounted for by our current theories of the total histories of these ancient civilizations. So, I mean, I've talked about it briefly, I think, on the show before, but as they've gotten better at creating these, like, ground penetrating and forest penetrating radar systems, they've found that a lot of these South American and Central American and Mexican empire cities, the Aztecs, the Olmecs, the Toltecs, that those cities were way bigger than we previously assumed that they were. And maybe even way older than we presumed that they were. There's some crazy shit, man. Please start a history channel, Paul. No. Yeah, I think like everything else, like every other science, history is a progressive science. It's a science that is constantly looking to get closer to the truth. And that's why I defer to the scientific method over, religious proclamation. Is as imperfect as it has been in the past and continues to be, science is constantly looking to self-correct, which is neato burrito. Where may I send Paul fan art? Where may you send it? Dude, I don't know, bro. Where would you send it? I mean, we've got a DFF Twitter. You could tag that. You could do the subreddit. You could send it through that, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't have social media really at all. So I don't know. I don't do it. I believe that social media sickens the mind. And I also believe it stifles potential. People need adversity, and social media is predicated on separating people into these like little herds of people where they don't have adversity. And then these people launch attacks on ideological opponents, and those, but like it's like, two or three fucking groups of people that are all just stroking each other off. I believe that weakens human minds. I believe if you're not inundated in lively and vibrant political disagreement, and you're not willing to engage in that, and you don't look for that, I believe that it weakens you as a political philosopher, as just as like a humanist. I believe it weakens you. I don't believe it strengthens you to join the whatever Twitter army most closely parrots your beliefs. And I dipped my toe into that fucking social media environment. I still browse my Reddit account or whatever, because it's pretty good at like showing me stuff that I've been interested in the past, and maybe finding new stuff that is related. So, but I don't engage in the comments, and I don't go to Twitter to bitch about it. I just don't. I haven't had Facebook in years. Facebook is just a dead meme to me. So I just don't do it, bro. I don't Discord really. I'll go pop into TJ's fucking Discord every once in a while and say what's up to his little Tajikifants, but like I honestly feel like your time is better isolated in that case. Like I feel it's actively detrimental for you to surround yourself with an echo chamber, like an absolute echo chamber, where no dissent is tolerated, where no contrary opinion is ever considered, and I feel like it dulled my fucking mind and dulled my political will and senses, so I don't do it anymore. Do I value your opinion? No. But I value any talk or disagreement that we might have should your opinion contradict one of my opinions. I don't value your opinion. I value the possibility for discourse between us should we disagree about something. That's what I value. That's where I think, social media, I think, has stunted and retarded that aspect of human development. I think you need to hear people that disagree. And I think you need to get yourself to a psychological space where a person disagreeing with you isn't the end of the world, doesn't make you fucking flip your shit, doesn't make you hate that person or want to start a pogrom against everybody that thinks that way. You know, this amped up fucking tribalism that's going on is not good, dude. Blocked. Blocked and pwned. It's not just the online left, dude. It's the online right as well. It's just the political discourse that is distilled from these environments like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is pure fucking ideological poison, in my opinion. It is just, in the case of the online left, I think it's just absolutely destructive. I think it's a vector for liberalism. And I've made these types of fucking arguments a bunch of times, and I've called these people out as I see it. But I think that there is a very worrying shift in overall online leftism towards liberalism. On the online left, pretty much roundly poo-poos hippies now, which from my upbringing are a standard fucking part of the left. There's no anti-war movement on the left anymore. Now we've got leftists tripping over each other to justify different wars and incursions, and having a harder time, by the way, rectifying their fucking political positions with their moral positions, which I always find funny. I love the tap dance that fucking people in Vosh's camp are having to do right now after cheerleading for Biden forever, and now he's literally just fucking like financing a genocide and really doing nothing to stop it. And they have to somehow marry this insane political prescription that all we can do is vote for whatever fucking butt hash the liberals give us with, we gotta stop the genocide in Palestine. It's just funny to me to see that kind of fucking cognitive dissonance and how, you're constantly shifting from one foot to the other and shit. And it's like, maybe that's because your moral prescriptions and your political prescriptions don't match reality. Maybe it's time to take a look at both of those and find out what the fundamental fucking tangle-up is. But yeah, there seems to be this like sex negativity and drug negativity coming out of the left now that's just like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Now everybody's like, oh, fuck you potheads, man. It's like, huh? Are we back on this? You know who was doing that back in my fucking day? Rush Limbaugh. So now you're basically like, Rush Limbaugh was right? Dude, in the 90s, growing up as a pothead, the people that fucking were like, oh man, this dude fucking weed hippie, pothead. You know who would have talked like that? These fucking hippies? These potheads? Rush Limbaugh, dude. The ugliest, nastiest fucking version of the right. And now that's just like coming out of our leftists now? So I think that the internet has been a boon for like neoliberals, neoconservatives. I mean, has anybody pointed that out to Vosh? That his anti-drug position and his anti-music position and like a lot of these fucking takes that he's throwing out there pretty much like directly correlate with 20 years ago what the right was saying? Like, has the Overton window moved so fucking far that that's what we're calling leftism now? Anti-music? Yeah. The dude went on a whole fucking screed about how music was pointless and a waste of time and yada yada yada. And it's like, huh? And I think that social media is to blame for that shift. I think that social media just conglomerating people into ever bigger enclaves that just can't hear any fucking contrary opinion, are actually kind of afraid to argue it out. Hence the debate bro movement, you know? You know what the debate bro movement is? People that have been desocialized to the point where they can't even fathom having the balls to like step up to a conservative in real life. And so they have to have people like Destiny or Vosh or whatever do it for them. Like that's what the debate bro movement is. Like, let me sit back and watch while somebody else confronts the worst parts of humanity. It's like, how is that helping anything? You know? Why don't you take what you learn from those people, go do it yourself? On DP, Vosh tried to say he's from the poor part of Beverly Hills. There's no such thing. And like, look, dude, he can't. Like, Vosh had no choice being born, but like, the fact that he's like even trying to sell people, and the only people that would even hear like the slums of Beverly Hills and go like, oh, okay, are people that have never been there. Unfortunately for him, I've spent extensive time in LA, and I've been through Beverly Hills. I've been all over Beverly Hills. There's no hood in Beverly Hills. There's no poor part of Beverly Hills. It just doesn't exist. Beverly Hills is a mostly white, uber rich enclave within LA County. Right up against the hills, hence the hills. So you've got like let me give you an example. You know, you guys all play Grand Theft Auto 5? I'm assuming most of you guys played GTA 5. There is a quest line in GTA 5 towards the beginning where one of the main characters, Michael, gets in this, I can't even really remember the setup. I think he like crosses some drug lord. He goes up and destroys this dude's house. And it's one of those houses that's on stilts because it's built right into the cliff edge. And it's on, and he takes, you remember this thing? He wraps the tow rope around those pillars and uses his car to fucking crash this dude's deck. Right? You guys remember that? Those houses that are built on stilts, that's Beverly Hills. The area that Michael lives in with the mansions and the fountains out in front of the house is modeled after Beverly Hills. Okay? So there's no hood. There's no bad part of Beverly Hills. Yeah, maybe he was like one of the resistance fighters living in the sewer with Dennis Leary. Maybe that's true, Johnny. You got a point there. Guys, hang out. I'll be right back. Oh, hopefully my butt crack didn't just... You guys might have just got a show. It's like, I don't know how to explain that to people better. I know not everybody played GTA, so... I mean, in the 80s and early 90s, there was a whole fucking... There was a whole sitcom that was based in Beverly Hills. use the zip code of Beverly Hills, 90210. Like, that was the name of it. And it was a show about a bunch of rich kids who had rich kid problems. I think there was like one poor guy in the show. I guess that would have been Vosh. There was one guy and that was his struggle, was that he didn't have all the money that all the other people in the show had. Maybe that was Vosh. Yeah, 90210 is the zip code for Beverly Hills. It is, in California, a zip code that is synonymous with super wealth. I mean, you're talking like some of the biggest names in entertainment history have lived in that zip code. And still do. It is one of the most expensive zip codes in the country. There's no hood in it. Okay? And like I said, it's not like Vosh chose that, but to not own that and to not work diligently every day to at the very least try to learn to empathize with people who didn't have that and who had to fucking burn for their swag. That seems like not a leftist kind of perspective to me. Yeah, I mean, if I was streaming from my desktop is all fucky right now. If I was streaming from that, I would pull, I would just pull up Google Maps and we'll drive around and we could take a look. Beverly Hills, that's where I want to be. Do. Living in Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills. You meant anyone can? Yeah, I don't know. Good point. You guys could fucking pull it up and just, like, find me the hood, okay? Like, make sure you're still in Beverly Hills, because Beverly Hills is butted up against West Hollywood and shit. Which is also a pretty rich neighborhood, but there are some seedy areas of Hollywood, for sure. Not really Beverly Hills, though. I don't get why Weezer fans hate that song. I'll tell you why. And in order to really, if you really want to understand, you have to listen to the Blue Album, which is what Weezer released. That was their first release. And then listen to that song. And the difference will be clear. That song is a fist-pumping, bro, get your fucking red Solo cup and go over to the beer keg and drink some piss water beer type of song. It's, like the original Blue Album had like a surf rock kind of punk vibe to it, which was neat. And that's just gone. It's like they're, if you like pina colada, whatever. I kind of like that song. But you get it. It has those vibes. Is it butt rock? Kinda, yeah. It's got a little bit of an ass rock vibe to it, for sure. What's the Blue Album, not the Green Album? Blue Album and Pinkerton. Or are you talking about, yeah, because they did release a Green Album. Fuck the Green Album. The Blue Album is good, and Pinkerton is mostly good. And then they've just fell off super hard. I need to get that drop, though. I need to get the Beverly Hills drop. Yeah, Hash Pipe is the only good song on the Green Album. I do like Hash Pipe. Hash Pipe kind of has that surf rock vibe to it a little bit. But it is a little butt rocky. It is. Island in the Sun. I don't know, man. That song gave me like 311 vibes. Which, you know, like theory, I like some 311. I like Amber. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they didn't like own their sound. Weezer is the epitome of butt rock? Nah, but they've definitely, like, some of their stuff does have a butt rock vibe to it, but nah, they ain't the epitome. I mean, the epitome of butt rock, I hate to say it to you guys, is Metallica. Ooh, yeah. That's butt rock, dude. Any butt rock, like anybody that has shit like that in their songs, dude. Ooh, oh yeah, butt rock, dude. Like Metallica. Hoo-ah! Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double digits. Ooh, yeah. Wow, butt rock. Paul has gone too far. I'm a Scottish now. That's fine. That's fine. If you would so easily leave the fold, I never knew you. You are neither hot nor cold, so I spew you out of my mouth, because you are lukewarm. Paul's as based as ever. Dude, I just get more based with age. That's the thing. Is like, that's my superpower, dude. The older I get, the more based I get. Think about it. You really look at the fucking arc. I'm more based it's like I'm being basted with time. Slowly. Layers of based. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Dude, I'm about to break the based barrier, dude. I'm as based as they come. Shout out to Lukewarm, most based guy. Lukewarm? Okay, cool. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me da. Oh, yeah. When I first heard that, I was just like, man. And then it got all popular and shit, and I was like, oh, man. Hi, guys. I don't know why. I don't know why it came off that way. Hi, guys. That's how I read that, though. Godsmack butt rock. Godsmack is no. Yeah, maybe. They got a little butt rock element to them, but Godsmack is more just kind of like pussy rock. So Godsmack is like nu metal, which really pussified, you know. And yeah, they're not. I wouldn't put them like direct. They definitely got a little butt rockishness in them. but they're pussy rock. Like, I would put them in pussy rock. What's the difference between pussy rock and butt rock? Like, I don't know. That's the thing, is like these concepts were so ingrained in the culture that I lived in that we never really sat around. It was just like, you would just label it when you hear it. Yeah, one naturally lubricates and the other doesn't. That's the best way to put it. Nirvana is awful. Oh my god, dude. You're such a hot take machine, Jason. You're such a fucking hot take machine, bro. Creed and Pearl Jam. Yeah, Creed is pussy rock. Pearl Jam is grunge rock. Grunge rock, more than pussy rock, has its roots in punk rock. How would you label Korn? Nu metal. But good nu metal. Like, their early Korn stuff is pretty good, honestly. But it's nu metal. Korn is a nu metal band. The Korn is probably the godfathers of nu metal. Sixpence None the Richer. Yeah, pussy rock. And there's good stuff in, like, it's not like, look, dude, I like some of that old pussy rock from the 90s, but yeah, kiss me out in the broken tree house, swing, swing beside the green, green grass, kiss me beneath the milky twilight. It's pussy rock, I don't know what to tell you. But I like that song. That's a cute song. Well, Slipknot is nu metal as well. Best butt rock band? Probably like AC/DC or something. Like, AC/DC is pretty badass. Favorite guitarist? I mean, it's hard to pick somebody that isn't Steve Vai. I mean, that dude, I don't know if you've ever listened to that dude wail, but I don't know, maybe Jimmy? No, AC/DC is butt rock, dude, sorry. It's butt rock. It's okay. I mean, there's good butt rock and bad butt rock, but their butt rock is butt rock. Pussy rock is pussy rock, I mean, it doesn't change. The utilitarian calculus doesn't change, my dude. My guy. Tried so many times to get into Frank Zappa's music, but I just can't. It's not for everybody. It's pretty esoteric, pretty weird. That's why I love him, but I grew up kind of really getting exposed to those weird kind of experimental bands. My friend Morgan, who sings the lead, and when I do my desktop streams and I'll start with an Apple Nasty song, that's Morgan that you're hearing. Morgan was such a resource for me musically. His dad was super into Zappa, super into that kind of like experimental rock stuff, more technical. I guess you would call it kind of prog rock ish stuff. And Morgan was just into every crazy thing. Like, have you guys ever heard of the band Sibo Mato? They were a Japanese post-punk kind of band that had their heyday in the 90s. Fucking amazing, right? Cibo Matto, Cibbomatto, I believe is how they spelled their name. They did have a song on Jet Set Radio Future called Birthday Cake. Just crazy out there shit. Ween is another example of a band that I wouldn't be into if not for Morgan. He introduced me to Ween. I only listen to 50 Cent, damn. I have to disagree there, Paul. Thoughts on the song Two-Headed Boy? So that is Neutral Milk Hotel. Yeah, I mean, I that album, the album that song is on is called, it's named after a cut on the album, The Aeroplane Over the Sea. And that album is fucking crazy, dude. Cibo Matto. Yeah, I know Goat versus Fish is an LA denizen, so you might have gotten to see Cibo Matto, maybe. Ween, yes, Ween had the Push the Little Daisies song in the 90s that was briefly popular just because it was so weird. But Ween is that's a very poppy Ween song. They also did Ocean Man, which I think was used in SpongeBob at some point. And that song, Ocean Man, is on my favorite Ween album, The Mollusk. Daniel Johnston, that's like outsider music, right? Outsider folk. I like that type of shit. The weirder the better for me. I like it. We watched a documentary about Daniel Johnston, interesting character. Yeah, there is. You probably saw The Devil in Daniel Johnston. That is a great documentary to introduce you to Daniel Johnston and his music if you've never heard of him, and kind of tells the story of his life. Pretty awesome. He passed away a couple of years ago, honestly, a few years ago now. Super sad. Wesley Willis is another outsider musician that was briefly popular in like the early 2000s. Let's talk Clutch. Love some Clutch, dude. Clutch is kind of butt rock, but I love it. Love me some Clutch, bro. Their self-titled debut album, I was banging that shit in 1996. And that shit was changing my life, dude. Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, I saw the Voodoo Glow Skulls in concert in Fresno when I was a teenager. They were fun. Yeah, it's cool to know they're still out there touring. Yeah, I saw them when I was a teenager, bro. I would probably have been 17 when I saw the Glow Skulls. Yeah. They were fun. Is there a band called Joe Biden? No, but there should be. There should be like a fucking post-hardcore screamo band. Why is the stream like this? Why not? That's the question. Why not? Jupiter Cyclops winks at me. Oh yeah, she knows who's driving. The planets align. A king is born. Jesus on the dashboard. No. Whenever it feels right. Whenever it feels right. Whenever it feels right. Whenever it feels right. Dodge Swinger, 1973. Galaxy 500. All the way. Stars green. Gotta go. Dodge Swinger. 1973. Top down. Chassis free. Buzz Aldrin. Armstrong. Or maybe just me. White Zombie. I've not heard Green Day's new album. I'm not the biggest fan of Green Day. Like, I liked the Dookie era of Green Day, but after that they got a little, they strayed from the path. When they started that, with something unprotectable, when the other's right. When that shit came out, I was just like, psh, pussy rock. Here we go. But I don't blame them doing it. That type of rock at the time that came out was super popular. That was like the Ben Folds Fives Brick days. Pussy rock had just taken over the fucking airwaves, bro. Yeah, the Goo Goo Dolls, Dishwalla, Joan Osborne. I mean, that's the type of shit that was on the radio at that point. Pussy rock. I love it, but pussy rock, you know. At 69.9 pussy rock. What does mid-90s Soundgarden go almost without mention? I was never a big Soundgarden fan, honestly. Like, I appreciated some of their songs, but I was never real big into them. I don't think I ever went out and bought a Soundgarden album, and that was really the measure of whether I liked a band or not, is if I owned an album by them. I was a Stern guy, just because I grew up listening to Stern. I had a morning radio station that would pipe Stern in from the East Coast when I was a kid, and I would listen to that when I got ready for school and drove to school every fucking day. So I was definitely a Stern dude. Fuck Opie. Stupid Opie and Anthony show. Such a fucking blatant ripoff of Stern's aesthetics and shit. And Black Hole Sun is a banger. Like I said, they had some songs. What's that song they did? Follow me into the desert, as thirsty as you are. Was that Temple of the Dog, or was that... I know it was Chris Cornell, but... Yeah, Burden in My Hand, yeah. I remember that song being pretty big, and I liked that. That was with Soundgarden, yeah. Temple of the Dog, dude. The super group. Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell. That was pretty cool. Didn't really get much bigger than that one single, though. A Hunger Strike, I think it was called. Talked Weezer earlier. You could rewind and hear all the Weezer talk you could fill your brain with. System of a Down. Yeah, I mean, System of a Down was cool. For sure. Were you ever into Garbage? I liked Garbage. Shirley Manson's super hot, dude. Or at least she was back then. I don't know now. I like me some Garbage. Little I Think I'm Paranoid. And what was their other song? Bend me, break me, any way it's easy. All I want is you. That was good. Like, dude, from 90s, like, that was one of the base things about the 90s, is that there were a lot of female artists. If you really start naming off top charting female-led rock acts in the 90s, there were fuck tons. You guys remember? L7, Alanis Morissette, fucking what's her name? She did, I've been a bad, bad girl. I'm a brain farting her name. But Veruca Salt, yeah. Can't fight this either. Fiona Apple, yeah. There was one that had a big hit, and I don't think she ever made another hit. She was like a one-hit wonder. You guys remember Poe? Poe, dude. So that song Angry Johnny, just listen to it. That song's a banger. Four Non Blondes, another female-led group. Also one-hit wonder group, for sure. The Cranberries, yep. Sixpence, None the Richer, we mentioned them earlier. No Doubt. Just a fuck ton, right? Hole, yeah. The Sundays, yeah. Kitty, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the underground had a bunch of them too. There's a lot of underground rock too that was. I liked queercore back in the day. Was No Doubt any good? They were all right. I kind of like learned to hate No Doubt a little bit because my sisters were so into them. But like looking at their music kind of objectively, they had some bangers. It was pretty fun music, honestly. The Waitresses in the late '80s. Oh, do you ever like Death Cab or Postal Service? I like Transatlanticism. Postal Service, eh. It's a little too dour for me, that whole era, like the kind of emo era. The screaming infidelities era, you know. Oh. Somebody should can Barb's, please. That's just nonsense. Like, even if you were trying to say something, I don't ever want to hear it again. Shit can them. Get them out of here. Thank you, Johnny. That was just one of those nonsense bait posts, and that shit is so, dude. That shit is so 2015, bro. If you're still living in 2015 with your troll attempts, you got nothing. I got nothing for you. There's a thing that came out of that Death Cab era that I just, and it fucking infected music, bro. And I don't know how to describe it. There's a roundness to the way that the vocals are projected that I swear to God, you hear it everywhere to this day. It's this like, it's like when you sing, try and like start every syllable with your mouth at an O and end it with at an O. So it's like, I think that it's a sign that the freckles in our eyes are mirror images, and when we kiss, they're perfectly aligned. Like that. Oh, dude. Like, there's a bit. Like, listen to like all the popular like female singers right now, like Halsey or something, and they all do that fucking round. Yeah, Blink 182 definitely played a role, but I really blame like Postal Service and fucking Death Cab and that whole fucking shit, dude. Cursive singing, yeah. Yeah. Goldfinger had that in it too. It's just like they're not like the other girls. I know. I know, dude. That's my favorite thing about them is how, fuck, dude. They're so not like all the other girls. While they're exactly like the, you know what I mean? Like, they just match the kind of post millennial aesthetic right now. But I'm different, dude. What do the kids call that now? A pick me? Is that the right word? A pick me? You know what caused that whole trend, dude? I bet you guys can't fucking nail it, dude. There were actually two movies that explain entirely how like the current young women aesthetic, like the current aesthetic of like 20 something women. Can you name them? There were two movies. One of them more than the other. I'll give that. There was one real strong movie. Mean Girls? Nah. The Mean Girls era came and went. Nope. The Clueless era came and went. How recently made? Made in the 2010s. You got it, M. Jackson. Scott Pilgrim. Ramona. That's it. The manic pixie dream girl. Yep. The girl that's like hot and different, but edgy, and like she has problems, so you can't get too close to her because she might bite. Doesn't know what she wants. She's not like the other girls, right? The manic pixie dream girl. And that's kind of where the aesthetic is now. What was the other movie? You guys are going to think I'm crazy for this one. Released in the same era, the 2010s. I'll just say the name of the character and you tell me where it's from. Vanellope von Schweetz. Yep. Yep. Vanellope von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph, dude. Yep. Every time I look at Billie Eilish, I just think, oh shit, Vanellope von Schweetz grew up. Am I wrong, dude? Like, holy shit. Vanellope von Schweetz just came into her own, dude. Like, look at her, all grown up. What a twist, I know. But is it wrong? You didn't see it, now you will, though. Dude, I'm telling you. If you look at like a lot of these like TikTok stars and shit, like I get exposed to the TikTok trends because I will scroll shorts here on YouTube sometimes, and their algorithm is fucking crazy. It puts everything in front of me, and so I'm just like, weird. Dude, when you look at that, dude, I'm telling you, do that. Go through the fucking TikTok shit and just keep in the back of your mind Vanellope von Schweetz. You'll see it over and over again, bro. The way they talk, like there's this weird, like kind of baby talkish thing that is done now. It's kind of an anime thing too, I think. But there's this weird kind of like baby talk, kind of like, ooh, you know what I mean? It's Vanellope von Schweetz. It's Vanellope von Schweetz with a heavy dose of Ramona. Just think of those two characters. Think of Ramona from Scott Pilgrim and Vanellope von Schweetz, and you have unlocked the modern aesthetic for young women. And it makes sense. All the young women now were fucking in their teens and tweens when Vanellope von Schweetz came out in what, 2011? It's about right, right? They're all 10, 11, 12. Now they're 22 and they all look like Vanellope von Schweetz, and you're telling me this is a fucking accident? No. What happened to the classic goth chick listening to Type O negative and smoking weed? She died. She died in the 90s, unfortunately. I think the 2000s were tough on the old goth chick. Dude, there was one chick that had that like hardcore punk goth aesthetic at my school, and I wanted her so bad, but she looked at me like I was such a contemptible worm that I could never bring myself to fucking approach her, dude. But she looked at everybody like that because they were, right? She had like real short hair that was bleached blonde and kind of spiked in the front. And she wore tank tops, and she had like just like visible like self-harm scars on her arm, you know, like where she'd been cutting. Yeah, Firuza Balk. Yeah, Firuza Balk, dude. Yeah. Firuza. That was the aesthetic in my day. The fucking, not Clueless. What was the fucking witch movie? That movie. The witch movie with Firuza Balk in it. That was it. That was her. She was Firuza Balk from that movie. Sitting around with the super, like, heavy, white, pale makeup, the punky hair, the craft. Thank you. I was brain farting on that for some other reason. Displaying the self-harm scars. Has a fucking Buzzcocks t-shirt on, you know, or a Sex Pistols t-shirt on. Black, tight leather pants with zippers, and fucking Chuck D's, wearing a baggy tank top where you could see her bra straps, self-harm scars. What more do you want in a woman? You know what I mean? How fucked up is that, dude? Skinny as a rail, too. Like, no meat on the bones. Kind of like almost androgyny level. Ideal girl right there. That was it in high school. Hold on. People in the 90s thought self-harm scars were hot. Take me back. Yeah. So, well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. It was part of an aesthetic. And, like, that's the thing with self-harm, is that cutting in particular is kind, like, it used to be kind of a fashion statement. I can fix her, yeah. It really is born out of the same thing. We were just talking about Vanellope von Schweetz and Ramona, and that's what it was in the 90s. The 90s were a little edgy, and the aesthetic of, like, a punk chick with a nose piercing and, you know, the self-harm scars and the baggy fucking shit, just being out there and looking at you like you were a contemptible worm. That was it, dude. But yeah, no, it really was. Like, not on everybody. Like, and it definitely, like, situationally not. But, you know, as part of that, I don't give a fuck, the world sucks anyway, nihilistic kind of punk rock / goth aesthetic that was super hot in the 90s, self-harm marks on your body and shit kind of went with that a little bit. And so there were undoubtedly, I don't know about the girl that I'm talking about, but there were undoubtedly women that did it for aesthetic reasons. And this is not, by the way, uncharted as far as human history goes. There are tons of cultures still extant today where scarification is considered to be beauty. And so the interplay between fashion and mental illness is not necessarily as tenuous as some people might think. Oh, dude, the sneaker pimps chick. Yeah, for sure. Oh, God, Mazzy Star. Dream Girl. 90s dream girl, Mazzy Star, dude. Fade Into You. That was my. Fade Into You was my. I'm gonna lock the door to my bedroom and cry into my pillow because the girl I like doesn't like me song. I wanna hold the hand inside you. Tell me, why don't you love me? Fade into you. Strange you never knew. Sneaker Pimps, yeah. Six Underground. That song is fucking dope, dude. It's basically trip hop, which had its genesis in the 90s. And if you look into it, the Sneaker Pimps were an early trip hop band using like hip hop loops, the bum 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 bum, a 1 2, a 1 2, boom bum 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 bum. Take me down, 6 underground, the ground beneath your feet. Yeah, no, that definitely like it. I hadn't really even thought about that for years, but you actually confronting me with the question, like, was self harm hot? Kind of was, yeah. Definitely was trendy to do. I know a lot of girls got into it because they saw other girls doing it and shit, which is how I believe stuff like cutting spreads and shit. But yeah, it definitely was. Sneaker Pimps hated Six Underground. A lot of bands do. Like, Kurt Cobain hated Smells Like Teen Spirit. Because for him, it was such a throwaway song. It's supposed to be making fun of, like, teeny boppers and the 90s aesthetic as it existed prior to Nirvana. And he made it to kind of, like, poke fun at that aesthetic and shit. He saw it as a kind of just a throwaway song, and it ended up breaking his band in a big way. And it was expected for him to play it, and he hated playing it. It happens to a lot of fucking bands, honestly. It's kind of like, I assume it's kind of like how, I've felt at times when people are like, do Brett Keane or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just like, I kind of broke into my little pocket of internet fame doing that, and I've worn myself out pretty fucking heavily on it, but everybody still kind of wants to hear it. Like it's definitely on a different scale. I'm not comparing myself to the level of Kurt Cobain or whatever, but I think it's on the same spectrum as that. Yeah. The Teen Spirit lyrics were meant to make fun of this kind of like empty-headed college rock that was going on. This kind of like, just like fake pussy rock bullshit that was going on, where none of the lyrics were insightful or thoughtful, and like it was meant to make fun of that. I never got to see Nirvana live, no. Kurt unfortunately died while I was still pretty fucking young, too young to like get it. I couldn't drive yet. I think when did Kurt die? 93 or 4? I would have been 13, maybe 12. Yeah, 94. Yeah, so I would have been 13. Just not old enough to get away to a fucking concert, I really didn't get to see any of the bands that were super popular around my era, during their heyday. Kind of sucks. I lived in an area where it was kind of rare for bands to come through. And it was expensive as fuck, it still is, but back in the day, it could be expensive to go to these fucking things, and I definitely at 13 didn't have any money, so. I got to see Tool in maybe their heyday. I don't know. I guess Lateralis probably would have been their heyday, and I saw them on the tour after that. No, wait. All right, how do the Tool albums go again? There's Lateralis is so maybe I saw them on the Lateralis tour. Because yeah, Stink Fist isn't. What was the Stink Fist album called again? Yeah, because that's when I saw them. I saw them in the early 2000s when they were touring on Lateralis. Anima, thank you. There was actually one before Anima that is really good. I always forget the name of that too. But the album that came right before Anima was really good as well. Opiate, thank you. Yeah, Sober. Sober was huge in the 90s. That video for Sober is just so fucking cool. Paul, do you like Nas? Kinda. I was more of a West Coast rap guy, so Nas was, I don't know. He wasn't super on my radar, honestly. I listened to a lot of West Coast regional California gangster rap stuff. So I was into very early Cypress Hill before they became like a weed meme. Like a lot of people don't remember this, but Cypress Hill started as like a gangsta rap joint. And their first album, dude, I bumped that harder than almost any album from the 90s, dude. That album was fucking on permanent rotation all through my childhood. All through my teen years, dude. So, yeah, early Cypress Hill. Loved Too Short, who was out of the Bay Area, another Cali kind of rapper. And then, of course, you know, Dre and Snoop and that whole Death Row kind of era of hip hop. Completely forgotten about Cypress Hill. How'd I do that? Hey, you know, there's only so much room up there for stuff that matters, you know. Cypress Hill just got bumped off, man. They were not on your radar for a minute. This is another one of those old funky Cypress Hill things, you know what I'm saying? And it goes like this. Don't decide about your pants and you're missing the whole of the funky Buddha. Talk about my fucked up style to get wicked, so come on, as Cypress starts to kick it. What was the vibe back then? I don't know, dude. You'll have to explain to me what vibe means. Because I think I know what it means, but I don't. I think it might mean something different to me than it means now. Where do we go? Where do we go? Get out of here, you. vibes means the same thing. Well, like vibing was something that we did though. So vibing was a verb. Like we didn't really say bad vibes a whole lot. I guess we would, but it would be like here's how I would use the word vibe. I was walking down an alleyway one night and it was dark and late and nobody was out and I just got bad vibes, you know. That's but like the way I use vibes is like, oh, I'm really like I was listening to, you know, fucking I don't know, just pick a band or whatever. I was really vibing to that, you know. Vibing was like kind of like bobbing your head to something, being kind of into it. So I really don't know, like, yeah, feeling it. Yeah. So what was the vibe then? I don't know. Like good ass music and hanging out with your friends is all I cared about. Like that's really what I cared about at that time. So I guess that was the vibe. Like being in the presence of your friends though. Like actually getting together with 2 or 3 friends at least, chilling at somebody's house, riding our bikes to the park, going to the pizza parlor so we play Street Fighter, you know, bumping some music way too loud, and then our parents get pissed, tell us to turn it down. You know, that was the vibes. That's all I cared about. A type of mood, such as a serious mood. Vibe in the modern sense is something a noun can be. It doesn't help. Vibing was being in the moment and having a good time. It wasn't a descriptor for just any feeling, right? Yeah, we didn't like say, oh, this has this vibes or that. That's a very modern construct and usage of the word. Dinor, why are you barking, bro? So yeah. Well, it sounds like a nuke. Is that a nuke dropping? Hallelujah, gentlemen. The nukes have flown. Would young Paul fit in with the kids of today? No. Young Paul would be considered. I would definitely be canceled. I used the N word way too much as a kid. I mean, it was real common for me throughout my teens. Everybody, you know, regardless of the color of their skin, would use it like a greeting. You know, it was just what we did. So that would not go over well. Liberal use of the word faggot, that would not go over well. I don't think young Paul would vibe very well with the youth of today. But that's just my vibe on the situation. D, why are you out there barking? What are you even barking at? Do you even know? Do you even know, Pinkie Pie? What you're even barking at? Come here. Let people see. You're too dark. I can't see you. You're too dark. I can barely see. Oh, Pinkie Pie. The F word used to just mean uncool. Yeah. Like if something was lame, like gay and lame were synonyms. That's the best I can put it. Pinkie Pie, you're a brony now? How does that make me a brony? That's what I call Dinor when he's wearing his little pink penguin sweater that he looks so dapper in, which he's wearing now. He's wearing a little pink penguin sweater. And I call him Pinkie Pie when he's wearing that. I don't know how that refers to bronydom, but I guess it does. Pinkie Pie is one of the it's one of the names. I don't know. It's an animal in a suit, yeah. Yeah, it's just a cute name that I call Dinor when he's in his pink sweater. I didn't know it was now I'll probably stop because now I know it's fucking, it triggers the bronies. Look at them, they're everywhere now. What's going on here? Fucking nothing, bro. Isn't it great? An hour, or like 121 minutes and counting of nothing. We're just talking, man. That's all. Just talking. Just hanging out and talking. Isn't that great? Excuse me. That one went down the wrong pipes. No, I didn't figure out what he was barking at. Woo. That one hit a little hard. Those are the worst. Ooh. Paul, Vasu, hand demon mama. What? What, bro? Dude, I want to go on that. I'll even go on Demon Mama's show and not have it be a thing for Deep Fat Fried if that's the way it's got to be, dude. I want to pwn Demon Mama so hard, dude. She triggered me super hard with that, like, everything Bush did, Trump did, but worse bullshit. Just revisionist fucking history to support your continued simping for Joe Biden is fucked up, dude. There's a lot that can be said about Trump, and I think that he definitely established some troubling norms within the presidency and shit. But to even fucking put him in the same basket as George W. Bush just belies like such fucking historical bullshit. Just historical ignorance, bro. Like, you can't even compare the two. And, you know, it just fucking drives me crazy when somebody is sitting there in front of an audience full of young people whose minds are like fucking mush because they got jack shit for an education. They literally are just functionally illiterate, don't know how to read a book on their own, don't know how to research shit. And so they're lining up at the trough in front of Demon Mama, and she's puking bullshit like that into their trough that they can go proffer on the internet like it's a fucking valid opinion. It isn't. Like, Trump was a bad president, dude. He was a shitty fucking president, but he was pretty middle of the road in terms of Republican presidencies. One of the notable things about his presidency was the lack of expansion of military adventurism and his seeming like unwillingness to kind of commit to that during his presidency. That shit was fucking. I mean, I know he did drone strikes and all that shit, so I'm not claiming he was perfect on that. But there was no, large-scale American involvement in any fucking new wars and shit on Trump's watch. And, dude, that is something you cannot say. Within fucking 2 years of being elected, George Bush had embroiled America in wars that if we're honest, to this day, still rage. So, you know what I mean? Just that comparison alone is fucking insane. Like, George W. Bush absolutely eviscerated. So you remember when I said that Demon Mama's young audience got shit for education? You want to know one of the main reasons why they got shit for education? Look up No Child Left Behind. George W. Bush and his administration gutted, eviscerated public education to the point of unrecognizability. So he's the reason why a bunch of stupid kids are lining up to hear Demon Mama revise fucking recent history for them so that it fits their narrative. He absolutely destroyed public education. No Child Left Behind was an unmitigated disaster. And by the way, only expanded upon by the great fucking hope that was Obama. Obama took No Child Left Behind and just absolutely fucking fundamentalized the worst parts of it and made it and called it Common Core. The Patriot Act. I mean, a lot of Demon Mama's audience has never been alive during a time where they had a right to privacy because of George W. Bush. The American right to sanctity in your home and privacy of your own communications, unless there's a warrant involved, disappeared utterly due to George W. Bush and his cronies in his cabinet. They absolutely gutted it, bro. And to even fucking draw a line of comparison to Donald Trump in either of those situations, even if that was all Bush did, would be ridiculous. But the fact that Bush is behind all of that, massive war expansion, the disappearance of your right to fucking privacy and due process, gone. Public education, gutted, gone. A total farce, a total mess now. Like, you can't pin anything like that on on Donald Trump. Like, you don't go January 6th at me, bro. Don't feed me the January 6th shit if you want to compare to the fucking destructive nature of destroying habeas corpus in this country. You realize that the Bush administration legitimized warrantless wiretapping, legitimized infinite holding of political prisoners without due process? Do you realize that there's still an American prison in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, filled with fucking people that were scooped up in Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan during the fucking war on terror, that have never gotten a fucking day in court, never gotten heard? 2 million Iraqi lives lost, another million and change Afghani lives lost. I mean, the list fucking goes on and on. Yeah, Orange Man said mean things on Twitter doesn't really rise to the same level in my mind. Orange Man said mean things about trans people on Twitter. 2 million fucking human beings incinerated. I don't know. I'm gonna have to really. I'd love to see the utilitarian calculus that equalizes those fucking things. So just and it just belies, and it's not just a one-off. It belies a fundamental historical ignorance that permeates a lot of the online left as I see it. There are people out there trying to sell you that Trump is some kind of once in a fucking eon president. Just like some shining example of the worst of the worst of the worst, and he doesn't even fucking come close to the worst in recent history. But they're trying to sell you that, and the reason they're trying to sell you that is to get over Joe Biden, to get Joe Biden over, who's just kind of blithely sitting on his fucking old withered, careworn hands while Israel commits the worst fucking genocide of the modern era. And they can't fucking win. They can't get you to vote for Biden by saying, if Trump gets in, it's going to be more of the same. More crony capitalist bullshit, more erosion of fucking consumer protections, more exploitation of the third world. But, Joe's doing all that shit too. So it's really not going to be that much of a fucking difference. Yeah, he might be mean to trans people on fucking Truth Social again. That might happen. But, other than that, it just really isn't going to happen. You can't sell Joe Biden if you give a realistic appraisal of what a fucking Trump presidency would mean for the next 4 years. Yeah, Trump isn't even in the top 5 worst presidents of all time. Why do we need to make a mountain out of a fucking molehill to get Joe Biden another fucking term? The dude doesn't know where he is, bro. He's old. He's all medicated up. His handlers are having to fucking feed him every goddamn thing he says. He goes off script once and the world fucking gasps in horror. He's a nightmare. He doesn't know where he is. He's not an effective diplomat. He's not effective at the main job of the presidency, which is to be the primary diplomatic source of American fucking interests. He can't do it. I can't see this motherfucker in the room with anybody fucking serious. Trump fumbled COVID, yeah, and then Biden took over and fumbled it further. He did exactly what Trump was doing. Am I wrong? Biden took over, and what was Trump saying? We need to reopen everything. What did Biden do? Took over and reopened everything. I don't get it. I really don't remember that. Citation needed. What? You don't remember Trump wanting to fucking reopen schools and everything and shit? And that was his campaign promise, is that they were going to reopen the economy. And Joe Biden was on the other side of that, but when he took power, reopened the economy. Reopened the schools. Let the mandates lapse and did nothing about it. And that was that. And now we just live with cyclical COVID like it's the new flu. So let's not act like Biden was some kind of fucking superhero when it came to COVID. And let's not act like everything Trump did was bad when it came to COVID. Trump fucking hyper-funding these companies that made this vaccine in record time and shit. People forget that shit. That wasn't Biden that did that. That was Trump. You think that was bad? You think it was bad that Trump got a vaccine for the virus out as quickly as possible? Am I wrong? Do people literally don't have a brain that goes back farther than 4 years? So you guys don't remember 4 years ago? Is that what you're saying to me? How can we have a conversation? It's okay that you don't remember it, but you haven't availed yourself of that knowledge. I just don't. I honestly, I don't know. Like, I feel like that the basis for a fucking serious conversation is not there with a lot of these online leftists, dude. How do I even start to have a fucking prescriptive conversation about what I think should be done with somebody who thinks that Donald Trump was just everything that George W. Bush was, but worse? Because he said mean on Twitter. He said mean thing on Twitter and continued Obama's fucking border policy. And that makes him the worst ever? No, dude. Nah. Mm-mm. But how do you even have a fucking conversation with somebody whose memory and ability to look at just recent fucking history begins and ends with, like, the fucking election of Donald Trump? Like, that's about as far back as you can expect some. I mean, look, dude, there are people in here going like, oh, I don't remember 4 fucking years ago. Less than 4 years ago. I don't remember 3 years and change ago. It's like, huh? You don't, though? Can you explain more of why No Child Left Behind was a disaster? So, No Child Left Behind established, among other things, what's called standardized testing. So the idea behind No Child Left Behind was, hey, there are a lot of kids slipping through the cracks in the school system, so let's make a universal standard by which the kids' knowledge base is judged, and hold schools accountable for making sure everybody comes above that fucking bar, or at very least meets it, or else we pull funding from the schools. That was the basics of No Child Left Behind. So it established a standardized testing environment for students in which all students at grade level, with parity across the United States in all public schools, were given the same curriculum, taught it in the same way by the teachers, literally scripted, and tested on the same days, in the same manner, with the same parameters. And the schools that had, like, for example, in the area that I grew up, in the schools I worked at, a lot of migrant children go to school there. A lot of what they call ESL children. ESL is an acronym used in education that means English Second Language. And so these are children that were expected to, even though a lot of them entered the school system at 5th grade, 4th grade, they were expected by the end of 6th grade to have mastered the English language to the same level as a native English-speaking child that got the same level of fucking education as they did. Or in a lot of cases got 3 more years of education than they did. It was a stupid standard. It punished the schools that needed that money the most. So it took the poorest schools in the nation, which are almost universally have heavy fucking migrant populations, English second language children from profound poverty, right? And it took those schools and made it impossible for those schools to get fully funded. So it actually just, like, starved schools that needed the money the most to help reach these kids that had these very, very well-defined educational hurdles that they needed to get over, and it starved those schools of money. And that was really the point. So that's the idea behind No Child Left Behind. It was sold as a way to increase the standards of public education to make sure that children weren't being left behind by the school system. What it really was a piece of legislation that allowed Republicans to defund public school, which has long been on their agenda to do. No white child left behind, right? No white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired child left behind is basically what the law was. And it really was just a scheme for the Republicans to defund schools, and it worked. Schools are absolutely underfunded to the absurdity now. We covered it just in the other show. Cranking out functional illiterates. The reading level of fucking teenagers is off the charts bad. Reading comprehension is in the toilet. And that doesn't just mean that it's hard to sound out words. When you don't have the ability to look at something and very easily read it, you can't avail yourself of any of the knowledge that's available in front of you. Like, you are literally forced to go to talking heads and have them tell you what reality is because you don't have the fucking skill to sit in front of a thick book and read it. And so think about what you're doing. You're passing your trust over to these fucking, in a lot of cases, bad actors who just want your money because you can't read good. Me no read good. That's fucked, dude. But that's exactly what the powers that be want. Lib and righty. That's what they want. They don't want an educated populace that can know history beyond 3 years ago and know the patterns that have repeated it, over the course of that history. They want young people to be suckered into the, well, got no choice, so I guess I'll vote for the Dem/Repub. Like, that's what they want. And I feel like a lot of the online left is sleepwalking into that. They're filling fucking young people's heads with, well, all you can do is love the whip, bro. And it's like it has killed any fucking ability for these people that got these horrible educations to avail themselves of anything like a critical fucking look at the country that they live in. And it's just been replaced by propaganda mouthpieces. Every war that comes along is a good one. Every war that comes along is a just one. Every budget cut can be excused. Every fucking just holdover of fucking Republican policy that just continues on unabated. Oh, well, what do you want? Yeah, nobody's perfect. Just this defeatist, cowed, suck the system's dick and like it kind of fucking mentality that is just anathema to me. That is the opposite of how I was raised. Is the opposite of how my personal fucking political beliefs and views. And when I see fucking just mountains and mountains of young people getting force-fed this easy way out, this fucking path of least resistance, just suck it up and support Biden because you can't really do nothing else anyway. Well, when I see that happening, dude, it fucking drives me nuts, dude. It drives me absolutely fucking crazy. So... it's not just defeated, but self-deluding. It's like they have a narrative that they'll do anything psychologically to. Well, yeah. Well, that's the problem when you come. When what you want to do is give people good vibes, and you're filtering all the information you give them through the I want this to be a good vibe. Then it turns out you misinform a lot of fucking people, especially people that can't go pick up a fucking book or read a news article about it, and that's what that means. It means that a profound amount of kids that have graduated in the last 10, 15 years can't read. Who do you think makes up a large chunk of the audiences for the fucking people we're talking about here? Who do you think Demon Mama's... You think Demon Mama's got a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds watching her? It's a bunch of fucking teenagers and 20-year-olds. People that fucking got screwed. And they definitely don't need to hear, keep doing what your parents and grandparents did. Like, that's not the message that needs to be going out right now, dude. Keep doing the same thing. Just line up the polls and do your vote party line, bro. And the way they're selling it to people with the fear-mongering and shit, it's just all too fucking recognizable to me. But look, maybe I have a problem some... digest. You know, that alone, I think, like made me. It's back. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't know how. I hate when shit like that happens because I don't know what you guys heard and what you didn't. But anyway, I was saying that I believe that I was one of the last generations to get that kind of pre No Child Left Behind education. And by the time I left grade school, I mean, honestly, by the time I left kindergarten, I could read. Like, my parents taught me to read before kindergarten. So I was lucky in that way. But by the time I left grade school, there wasn't a book you could put in front of me that I couldn't read. And that carried me, you know, that was before middle school and high school. So, you know, the fact that that's no longer the case is something that's got to be addressed, man. Can you explain what cut this country in half politically and what could fix it? I mean, I don't really even buy the narrative that this country is cut in half. I think this country is cut in half on a very narrow spectrum of issues. So, where this country, I believe, is cut in half is social issues, which there's a lot of fucking important things, and you know, gay rights, trans rights, all that stuff is social. But that's where I think that the fucking big rift is in America. You go and talk to right wingers, you'll hear shit like, "Man, you goddamn fucking fat cat, rich fucking corporations fucking over the working man." They got this fucking leftist sentiment like built in, right? And that is pretty much across the board true for Democrats as well. So I don't think that this country is effectively split in half. I just think that this country is at a very strange crossroads where the media wants it that way and will do anything to keep it that way. The political class and the business class want it that way and will do anything to keep it that way, and have seemingly convinced a lot of us that it is that way. But it really isn't. I mean, there is a fucking real kind of uniting force behind economic justice that it sells well across the political aisle. And so I don't think that, I think that the United States have been kind of lulled into a hypnotic state where they've been led to believe that they have nothing in common with one another anymore. And the best thing they can do is join one of these tribal teams and vote for it as hard as they can and get mad at the other side. But I think if you actually sat down a lefty and a righty in a room and had a conversation about the implications of politics, you'd find a lot more fucking middle ground than you would find difference. You know, right wingers, and I see a lot of people, like, they look at right wingers, they go like, "Oh, they don't want fucking taxes." Well, yeah, they don't. They feel like the working person is paying much too high of a burden on taxes, and they're right. They may not out of the box, if you just bring it to them like that raw, accept your prescription of, well, we need to tax the rich, but they know that they're fucking unfairly taxed. That's a wedge. That's a fucking little crack in the door that a leftist could get through. That's why I am fucking pushing economic justice so hard lately, because I feel like it's a message that just doesn't even get talked about anymore. I feel like that a lot of the online left has just moved past these issues. Like, I don't really even hear them fighting for Medicare for all anymore. They certainly didn't when the squad had the ability to fucking, you know, force the vote. They were against that. It's like, what? You're against them using this fucking unprecedented time to try and wedge Medicare for all in? Why? On what basis are you? I don't get it, you know? but I do. One of the things that you'll hear over and over again is that the Overton window has been pushed to the right to such an extent that, you know, basic fucking leftism is now completely off the map. And, you know, when I was talking earlier about Vosh having this super boomer granddad take about pot and how you don't trust a junkie and being a total hypocrite on that, by the way. You got that going on. The music is just bullshit, waste of time, stoicism bullshit going on. It's just like, dude, this is my grandpa. Like, where are my grandpa's politics coming out of somebody that fucking cloaks themselves in the aesthetic of the radical left, dude? Legit, no joke. Like, when it comes to fucking class issues and shit, I believe like it's granddad is back. Vosh doesn't even realize, dude. You know where his opinion, because trust me, Vosh didn't come to that opinion on his own. He heard that from people in his fucking life and he's proffering it to you, okay? Do you know where that opinion, the like potheads are wastrel losers, they just do nothing, do you know where that was born? It was born during the Nixon administration. The Nixon administration wanted to criminalize hippies and black people and found out that marijuana was widely used amongst pretty much everybody, but he appended it to them. He called them dirtbags and scumbags and drifters and grifters and potheads and idiots and burnouts and it's like you're proffering Nixonian anti-drug propaganda to your liberal left audience and like, what? What's your stance on transgenderism and the problems and questions regarding it? I'm a firm believer that in our current culture, and once again, I'm reducing this to the political sphere in which I have a vote, the United States of America, okay? If I wanted to empower a trans person, I think the best thing I could do is give them a stable income. You really cannot establish anything like a life for yourself if you can't get a home, if you can't afford to live in an apartment, if you're struggling to make ends meet, if you can't get food, if you have no discretionary income, you have no ability to socialize. I think the most empowering thing for trans people and everyone besides would be a better, more equitable slice of the current economic pie here in the United States. And so that is my number one prescription for trans people is get them more money. Get everybody more money besides. More money would make life a lot easier. Yeah. It might allow trans people to come up for a breath of air and maybe, have some leisure time and have time to build organizations for themselves and their fellow trans folks and, have the discretionary income that's required to make that sort of thing happen. I really would fault anybody that says that isn't the most empowering thing that could happen for trans people and everybody else besides. But if we're focusing on trans people, that's what we need to do. I mean, once again, one of the things that I think that's happened is this tribalization, this separating people into these enclaves and groups. We're all human beings, dude. We're all human beings, okay? A trans person is a human. They need the same things that a non-trans person needs. They need a roof over their head. They need economic assurance. They need to not feel like they're under the gun constantly. They need to have a job that fulfills them. They need all these same things. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is agnostic to gender and sexuality, okay? It remains true. And the longer we as leftists allow the base of Maslow's pyramid to go unaddressed, the longer it's going to be before anybody fucking takes us seriously. I will tell you right now that everything that I've just said is wildly controversial in online left spheres. I would be immediately labeled a class reductionist for pointing out the simple fact that, like, trans people are overwhelmingly impoverished. Like, statistically overwhelmingly impoverished. The best thing you could do is hand them a fucking check every month so that they could have a little bit of fucking time to actually live a life. That's the most empowering thing you could do for a trans person. The fact that that is a controversial position to hold is fucking crazy. On the left, of all places. I could see why it is on the right. Wash is defending Biden bombing Yemen because of the importance of free maritime trade. Yeah. Like, this is a leftist crying about the interruption of capitalistic trade to a region that's committing a genocide. I want you to just take that in. This is a person that styles themselves as a rad leftist, radical leftist. Wants to quote Marx at you, wants to quote Engels at you, wants to quote Lenin at you, wants to use the aesthetics of socialism heavily, crying and whining because capital is being disrupted, and saying that the United States should be missiling on yet another country because they had the effrontery to interrupt the capitalistic flow of goods into a country that's genociding an entire population of people. That's where leftism is at. I mean, what else can I say, dude? And if you think that's an uncharitable recontextualization of his position, I'm happy to hear it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. It's okay for the Houthis to be bombed because they disrupted capitalism. It's like, okay. Did I accidentally stumble into a right-wing fucking area or what? What's going on? And correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't Yemen been undergoing a genocide of their own at the hands of the fucking Saudis and shit for a decade or more? Am I wrong about that? I'm not an expert in that area, but I'm pretty sure that Saudi Arabia has been fucking systematically genociding the Yemeni population for about 10 years, right? So America needs to bomb that country. Okie dokie. Yeah, Saudi's using American bombs too. American armed, yeah. So this is where leftism is at today. Leftism is these people had the effrontery to disrupt international maritime trade in order to fucking try and hold accountable a country that's doing a genocide right now. And America should bomb them for it. That's where leftism is at. Give me a fucking break, dude. I don't even recognize it as leftism anymore. This is neoliberalism. It's basically neoconservatism, honestly. Vaj says they just want to steal things from the ships. So, Why does Vosh, a leftist, care that people want to steal things from a convoy of fucking third world exploitation goods flowing into a country that's doing a genocide? Why would a leftist even fucking balk at that? Yeah, so? They should want to steal that shit. And? Like, where's this, like, radical leftist war hawkery coming from? I don't know. I don't know, buddy. Of course it's all insured. Are you kidding me? There's no even most likely about it. It's all insured. These giant shipping companies sell exorbitant fucking insurance contracts on the cargo that they're carrying. You have to have one in order to carry the cargo with them. Like, this is... We're wringing our hands and bombing yet another nation because they disrupted some fucking supply chain to Israel? Really? Yeah. No congressional fucking approval either, by the way. I just did it. Yeah, I don't know. It makes my fucking head hurt, bro. And I wish maybe I just need to move on from it. I kind of feel like at this point I know what I'm dealing with, and other people don't want to fucking see it. I don't know how I can wake them up to it. I think that Vosh is a standard fucking Hillary Clinton liberal. I think that he is personally invested in the status quo. He loves raking in the money he is, and he doesn't want to fucking do that. He doesn't want to do anything that might harm that. And so he's a status quo fucking liberal guy with socialist leftist aesthetics. And he's selling fucking snake oil to his bunch of fucking half illiterate young audience. And maybe that's just all I need to know, you know? Maybe that's where I ought to just fucking leave it. I don't know. Because I'm pretty convinced that everything I just said is true. I've pointed out several different areas where Vosh is making the same arguments that I would expect to come out of Rush Limbaugh in the fucking late 90s, early 2000s. It's anti-drug shit, it's anti-music shit, this fucking, like, loving every goddamn bomb that gets dropped just because Biden happens to be the one doing it shit, this uncritical, unfucking wavering support of the Democratic establishment shit. This, all of this shit just points to, like, yeah, I'm a Clintonist. I'm a Clinton neolib, and I'm trying to get kids engaged in the process of continuing to cyclically vote for their fucking oppressors. And so I'm going to do that. That's what I believe. Terminally online generation, a kind of an orphan generation that wasn't raised properly, literally didn't even really receive a full education, didn't learn how to read, didn't learn how to write, didn't learn how to express themselves, and so they are all hungry and desperate to have an intellectual daddy who will figure out the world for them and send them sallying forth into the fucking internet with a bunch of feel-good bullshit. And none of them really have the ability to look at recent history and parse it enough to understand they're being sold a fucking lame bill of sale. And, if that's the case, then what's the point of continuing to engage? I'm not going to win over any of those people by calling them illiterate and misled, as much as I believe that they are. Like, that's not how you win over the hearts and minds. Clearly, like, proffering forth economic justice and labor leftism doesn't ring a bell with them either, because Vosh is opposed to those things. So, I don't know, maybe there's just no point in continuing the conversation about it and with it. I don't know. Truth of the matter is, I'm beyond the age group, and I don't really have the aesthetics to capture young people, and that's just the truth. I'm not cool. I'm not hip. I'm not young. Uh, I don't consider bombing the Houthis a vibe. I don't know how else to put it. I don't consider American foreign adventurism, military adventurism to be a vibe, my dude. So, I don't know. So tired of grifters and demagogues. Everything's becoming a chain of parasites. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I don't care about Hassan, not one bit, dude. Like this shit where you guys try and proffer this like streamer shit that happens, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what they're up to. I know what they're doing. I don't care. I don't care, dude. I don't care what they done did. Okay? Like I don't. I just get very played out with this shit. And I think I'm fast approaching one of those times where I feel very defeated, and I feel like it's very unfruitful when this stuff comes up, and I have fatigue having to fucking go over it again and again and again, and there's a part of me that's real stubborn that feels like I have to, because there's a significant little chunk of our audience or whatever that wants to go after it and wants to hear me fucking recontextualize it a million times, wants to argue with me about it. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but goddamn, dude, am I fucking sick of it. I am really sick of having this conversation, dude. I really am. I'm being fucking totally real with you guys, dude. I am fucking dead sick of talking about this bullshit. I fucking wish that I could just tune out of this. There's a part of me that is fucking like let me just put it this way. Don't be shocked if in the next decade I just fucking absolutely just fucking forego politics completely and start something completely new that's apolitical, or at least nominally apolitical to the best I could create something. Because this fucking shit, dude, like I am weary of it. I'm tired of it. It fucking sucks a little bit out of my soul every time I have to do it. It's crazy making. It's enraging. It doesn't fucking add anything positive to my fucking life. Um, I just was raised. I was raised very, very fucking stubborn, and I feel like bowing out of that type of conversation or whatever is like a capitulation. And I don't want to do that because I don't think that I'm necessarily wrong in my prescriptions, but I don't think anybody's listening, dude. That's the sad fucking truth of the matter is I don't think anybody's listening. I don't think that the vibes are good. Whatever I'm presenting is not, it doesn't vibe. It's not a good vibe. And I don't know how to make it a good vibe. And so, I don't know. Oh man, don't fucking give me that. People over 40 need to abstain from politics. It really seems to stress them out. Like there's not a bunch of fucking Zoomers just poring over the new Keffels drama or whatever whenever it happens. Give me a break, dude. You'd be hard pressed to find a 40-year-old fucking person sitting there poring over the Keffels drama. So don't tell me that my fucking generation takes politics too seriously, okay? Asswipe. Like, not gonna happen. There is a fucking like, and don't get me with it stresses me out shit either. Like that's fucking unique to old people or whatever, dude. Fucking 20 year olds are dude. You're more stressed out than any generation of people has ever been, bro. And with good reason. You live in a declining, collapsing empire. You're watching the slow motion collapse of all the institutions around you. You should be fucking nervous. You Zoomers will be lucky to live to retirement age, bro. And be lucky the bombs don't fall before then. Much less having a retirement to fucking speak of. I would love for us to fucking do something to intercede with that. But it seems like we're voting blue. That seems to be the vibes right now. Anyway, I think I'm done. I think I've had enough of this bullshit for the night. I think you guys have thoroughly fucking depressed me. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that, by the way. I needed that today. I needed a long, depressing, fucking politics rant. I needed that shit. Man, I fucking love that shit, dude. That's my favorite shit to do.